Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 269. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing all right.
All right. Joining us this week, making his podcast debut, we have Film Pulse contributor Ken Bakley. How are you, Ken?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. On this special Halloween episode, we'll be covering first and last films from three horror directors. We're going to be talking about Mario Bava, Clive Barker, and Jennifer Lynch. So strap in. We got 6 reviews for you today. 6. Can you handle it, Kevin?
I honestly I can't. It seems like too many.
This is like the old
It's
days.
a lot. It's a lot.
Remember we did the Haneke retrospective? We did how many was that? That was a lot. We did his entire filmography.
Yeah, I don't think that worked out too well though, did it?
I remember it was
So we didn't-
it was like 3.5 hours long. I remember
Yeah,
that. It was like so long.
We did not learn. We learned nothing from doing this.
Well, yeah, that's true. Before we dive in this week, I want to thank our latest Patreon subscriber, Patrick Wang. If you want to help out the site and the podcast stay afloat, consider becoming our next patron by going to patreon.com/filmpulse. Any support you can give us is much appreciated. I also want to thank DJ Daggett for sending us an awesome Halloween mix to use for this week's intro and outro. We'll be sure to have a link to his stuff in the show notes as well. Great Halloween mix. You guys aren't hearing it right now.
Are you playing it right now?
It's playing right now, but you guys aren't hearing it.
I'll just imagine it.
It's good. I would highly suggest checking it out after we're done.
Fun. That's kind of spooky.
Yeah. He's got lots of great samples in there, and it's really good. He's also a friend of mine. He was actually on the show several years ago. He was on the show. I can't remember what we reviewed some comedy, and I can't even remember what it was.
No, it was that Zach Galifianakis, Will Ferrell. They were like running for public office.
Oh yeah.
What was that movie called?
What was that called?
Was it called Running Mates? Is that what it was?
Called like the campaign or something?
It was called The Campaign.
I like how we immediately got sidetracked.
Well, that's how we
right
do
off
it.
the bat.
I
think it is called The Campaign. Yeah,
It
Jay
is.
Roaches.
Yeah.
Back in 2012. The Campaign. Give it 2 stars, if you're wondering.
I don't remember how I remember that.
I remember not liking it.
I've never even seen it.
I could see what I gave it real quick, just, for consistency's sake. I also gave it a 2, so there we go.
Ooh, interesting.
Let's dive into these reviews here. So we're going to be talking about Mario Bava first. He did a few movies before Black Sunday in 1960, but I'd say that Black Sunday was like his first proper film. That was like, I think.
I think you can just be honest, and for the sake of this podcast, we considered Black Sunday to be the first.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people do, because a lot of the other stuff was some short films, like a lot of documentary shorts and things like that. So I think Black Sunday was definitely considered his debut. I have a synopsis here. A vengeful witch and her fiendish servant return from the grave and begin a bloody campaign to possess the body of the witch's beautiful look-alike descendant. Only the girl's brother and a handsome doctor stand in her way. So, what do we all think of Black Sunday? I think we'll start with Ken, since he's the newcomer.
I thought it was fine. I really should have written down more notes, because now I'm just trying to jog my memory back to what I thought. Can I send it around to someone else, and I'll just piggyback off other people's comments for this?
I'll actually mirror what you said. I thought it was fine. I don't have a whole lot to say about Black Sunday. I actually talked about this before on the show. I don't know when, but at some point on the podcast, I discussed Black Sunday. I am a big fan of Mario Bava, and I think that this is a pretty solid debut from him. It's got this kind of gothic horror vibe. I think the strongest element of this movie, for me at least, was the lighting. I thought the lighting was pretty incredible.
It's got really good lighting.
I think
and it's very moody.
Yeah, I think that's one of Bava's strongest skills, is his ability to light a shot really well.
Yeah.
Story-wise, I thought it was pretty average. I was like, and the dubbing was really bad in this one as well.
Yeah.
They were a lot of them were back then, though.
I'm to the point now where I hate Black Sunday so much.
Really?
And it's not really Black Sunday's fault entirely. This is a movie that I've watched 3 times now, and I don't know why. First time we talked about this before.
Yeah.
The first time I watched this, I was watching a Bava film, and I was like, all right, it was fine. Much like you guys, back then when I was young. And
and naive.
Yeah, it's just like, it's fine. The second time I watched it, I didn't know that I watched it before. That's how memorable I found Black Sunday to be. So halfway through the second viewing of Black Sunday, it kind of like trickled into my mind of, I think I've seen this movie before. And then I realized I did. So this time around, I didn't want any part of it. And why have I seen Black Sunday 3 times?
I'm actually surprised that's never happened to me before, that I'm watching a movie and I don't remember that I've seen it before.
Oh my God, it happens to me all the time.
Maybe I just have like a better memory for this.
Maybe.
This is the only movie I think that this has happened for me. And I'm having a really difficult time moving past the fact that I've seen this 3 times. Why? Why have I done this?
I don't know. Maybe you're a huge Bava fan. You just want to consume all the Bava all the time.
I mean,
you need to have all your Bava beans.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too much though. There's no reason anyone should see Black Sunday 3 times. Like, it's not that good. There's no justification for it.
Yeah, I don't know that it would warrant 3 rewatches.
I don't know what you're really getting on those second 2 viewings.
No, it's just I was essentially going through the motions, really.
Mm-hmm.
First, second, and third time.
Okay, so let's set all that aside, and let's say that you viewed it for the first time.
It's fine.
Okay,
it's good. It's fine.
It seriously is. This is what it, and that's kind of how Black Sunday is for me. It's just so unmemorable.
Right.
It's that even 3 times watching it, I don't have anything to say about it.
Why did you finish it the second time if you realized you'd seen it before?
I think it was because at that point there was an investment made on my part that I had to see through to the end for some reason. I'm not sure. I don't even know why I watched it the 3rd time. I didn't have to.
I get that way with a lot of TV shows.
Yeah. I usually do the same thing.
I think it just points to my professionalism. Is how I want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah. You stick it through to the end. I try to do that. Even if I'm not feeling a movie, I try to get through it, even if I'm not enjoying myself.
I do that too, but my motivation is I can log something else on Letterboxd afterwards.
That's a huge factor for me.
Just because it's like the cathartic reaction that you get when you have a checklist and you start checking things off. That's like me just watching like the number of films watched per year go up.
Yeah, and I'm very strict about what I log. I've talked about this before. Like if I see 3/4 of a movie, I don't log it. If I have to see a movie to completion. Same thing if I like miss 10 or 15 minutes of a movie at the beginning and watch the rest, I don't log it until I see that beginning part.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
But I have a lot of weird Letterboxd rules that we won't necessarily get into today.
Yeah, I'll sometimes log a movie on Letterboxd just to make a joke about it, but I won't add it to the diary. I'll just log a review. I made some stupid joke about La La Land the day after it won and then lost Best Picture at the Oscars. But that's the most I do. I just kind of...
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's not. I'm not saying there is.
So, Black Sunday I thought was getting back to...
I just would like to point out that this, I think if you're a listener right now and you're thinking about watching Black Sunday, keep in mind that there's 3 people here that it seems as though we will literally talk about anything else besides Black Sunday. So keep that in mind.
This is my first time on the podcast. I'm already derailing the whole thing.
I, I, I would say it's worth a light recommend for me.
No, sure,
it's a decent.
Just don't watch it 3 times, I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah, don't do that, because then you end up getting this this tainted view of it.
Yeah.
And it becomes like your cinematic nemesis for some reason.
I thought the effects work was pretty decent for 1960. I thought it was surprisingly more gruesome than a lot of movies during that time. And so I appreciated that, I guess.
Yeah, I had trouble. There was definitely some, I think, reading about some censorship issues it had getting released just because of that.
I think that I think it's an interesting film for Bava to debut with, because I think that you can definitely see shades of his style in there that get further developed as his filmography continues, especially like when he moves into color and stuff like that. So it's definitely, if you're a fan of Mario Bava and you haven't seen this one yet, I think that it's worth a look just to see kind of his humble beginnings as a director. Any other thoughts on Black Sunday before we give it a score?
No, I'm ready to talk about some shock.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Let's go ahead and give Black Sunday a score out of 10. I will give this I'll give it a 6.
I'll give it a 6.5.
I gotta look real quick.
You forgot what
I gave this.
I
want to see what I gave this before I say, yeah, I gave it a 6. Yeah, give it a 6. I mean, honest feeling now is just, from a personal standpoint, it's like a 1.
Okay. So Kevin's either a 6 or a 1, depending on how many times you see it.
Professional rating is a 6. Personal rating 1.
Okay.
And I swear to God,
just say 1 to add some more diversity.
Yeah, there you go.
I swear, if I inadvertently watch Black Sunday one more time,
2 years from now, we're going to be doing like a Bava retrospective, and
we'll discover what negative scores look like.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. I wouldn't put it past me.
Me neither. I wouldn't put it past me. I'll probably watch Black Sunday like a month from now and totally forget that I saw it 2 other times.
Let's turn Film Pulse into a Black Sunday fan website.
Oh, I like that.
Just constantly,
where we just talk about it all the time and keep rewatching.
Well, there was that podcast where every single week they watched Grown Ups 2 and they reviewed it every week. Or maybe it was Grown Ups 1, but
didn't like the Blank Check podcast start out with like a week by week analysis where they would go through Phantom Menace in 10-minute chunks?
I think so. All right,
there's precedent.
There is. Let's talk about Shock, aka Beyond the Door 2. So this came out in 1977. This was Mario Bava's last film before he passed away. I have a synopsis here for this one. A couple is terrorized in their new house, haunted by the vengeful ghost of the woman's former husband who possesses her young son. Kevin, let's start it with you. What did you think of Beyond the Door 2, aka Shock?
First off, that synopsis is bullshit, because it's not a new house. It's the old house.
It's their old house, yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's the old house.
Yeah. Can't be going around calling it the new house. It's the old house. Shock, I thoroughly enjoyed this, because for most of the time, I didn't have any idea what the fuck was going on. No clue, which to me was a positive, because I kind of like that in horrors. I like to just be like utterly confused through much of the duration. And then like a lot of other Bava movies, it kind of just devolves into this just like a bunch of murders.
Yeah.
Just like, people are dying now. And it's just like, yeah, this is kind of what I wanted. So overall, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. The music, for whatever reason, I really enjoyed the music.
It was good. It was really repetitive.
Especially that prog shit, like towards the end. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I also did not know what was going on throughout most of this movie, but that was not necessarily a positive. I'm maybe not as conducive to that as you were, so that kind of affected my score in the other direction. Because, I go through life and I don't know what's going on already, so I don't need that in a movie.
Understandable.
I go through life. I go through school. I just go through the motions, and you turn on the news, and then you really don't know what's going on.
Yep.
That's true.
I was a pretty big fan of this one. Well, not a big fan. I enjoyed myself with this one as well. I thought that it's a pretty slow moving at the beginning. It really took a while to sort of get its hooks in me. I thought that the final act was when it really picked up the pace, and I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that happened towards the end.
There's so much going on in that final act.
Yeah, that was really what won me over.
They do cram in so much towards the end there, because you're right. It is really slow moving, almost in the sense it feels as though it's just more stalling throughout. It just continually stalls its own story. But man, when it ramps up towards the end there,
this is basically what exponential growth lines look like as a movie.
Yeah, it's very plotting towards the beginning. I thought the kid was a piece of shit. He was horrible.
I hate that fucking kid.
I hate that kid so much.
I love it. Sets the stage at the beginning when the mom comes out and she calls for him and he goes, "Marco, that's my name." And I was like, okay, there we go then. His name is Marco.
Oh, shit. How much, too, with your hatred for Marco, how much of it hinged on him wearing overalls?
A little bit.
To me, a lot of it had to do with the overalls.
Yeah, that was a big part of it for me.
I don't know why. It was the overalls, the face, the hair, his voice, pretty much everything about him.
Yeah, he was just an annoying little shit, and I just couldn't stand him. Everything he said was ridiculous to me.
The fucking look on his face. Like, you knew that kid was evil.
Of course.
God.
Or he had some sort of, like, developmental issues or something. He just...
Well, then don't bring that up, because then I'll feel bad hating the guy.
That's true.
Let's keep him innocent and just a little shit wearing overalls with the name Marco.
And he wants a dog with hair like mommy's. Which was another, like, it was like, where did that come from? Can I have a dog with hair like mommy's?
He's, man.
If my kid, if I had a kid and that kid said that to me, I'd be like, we're going to see a doctor. There's something wrong here.
Then you go see the doctor and he tells you there's nothing wrong because of the way the kid drew trees.
Yeah.
Yes. He's perfectly
That
fine.
happens in this movie too.
His fucking trees they're flawless. There's nothing wrong with the kid. Can't be. Look at his trees.
I find that trope in movies to be really annoying. The kids drawing these ominous pictures.
But I also love that it's kind of a major plot point, but at the same time, the doctor even points out, he's like, hey, I'm not a child psychiatrist, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, so what's the point
So
of
why
this
did they go to
entire sequence? What are we
Just
doing?
found a guy in a nice-looking coat in an office, and he said, "Here, diagnose my child."
Yeah. Like, why did he sign up for it in the first place?
I'm an accountant.
I mean, I'm not a professional. I don't know what's wrong with this kid, but if I had to guess, I'd say it has something to do with those drawings.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I did have the kid draw a tree, and by the looks of it, it looks like a tree, so
pretty
I think
normal
he's
tree.
okay. Yeah, I think he's okay.
Lady, you just walked into this H&R Block and you asked about your kid.
No.
I don't got a lot to go on here.
Would you like to apply for a loan?
I did like the scene when she smacked him in the face, though. That was...
Yeah.
Well, that was a long time coming.
Yeah.
I think that was, I can't speak for you two, but for me, that was kind of like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. It was finally like good. If they would have got that smack, within like the first 5 minutes, I think the film would have played better with me.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a release.
Yeah, but there might have been more build up requiring a second smack later on.
True.
Because you release it early and then you build it up again with him losing his shit over a dog that has mommy's hair. And then you gotta give him another smack.
Can I go back to that thing with the doctor and the drawing trees again? Because that bothered me so much. I mean, I took just like this really, basic elective psychology, sort of introductory psychology course in my senior year of high school, which was, not that long ago. And the whole thing is that we actually mentioned that in the specific purpose of saying this whole thing about drawing trees has been considered BS for decades, and no one has taken it seriously in over a half a century. So I thought that was going to be like a whole thing where it was like the doctor, the fake doctor, the accountant, whoever he was somehow also terrible just because of how blatantly nonsense the whole thing was.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a '70s thing. Maybe they just didn't get there yet with
I think
child
it was before
psychology.
that. I don't know, maybe they just dipped back in for a minute.
Well,
I think it was also I love the way that it's just like kind of justifiable too, where it's just, he points out that he's not. He's like, I'm not a child psychiatrist.
Then who is he?
He's the guy that, like, when her husband committed suicide, he was the guy that was like, I gave her some, probably gave her some like antidepressants or something. That was it.
Yeah.
I think it just goes along with this movie not making a whole lot of cohesive sense. There's just a lot of random things that occur.
Because the whole idea of the child being possessed doesn't really make sense to me at all. Like, there's times where I'm like, okay, the child's possessed, but then there's other times where the child's just not even around at all, and there seems to be some sort of, being in the house.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like he needs to possess the child in order to do what he does.
Just like a sidetrack? Is it just sort of a hobby?
It just doesn't make sense.
It didn't seem necessary to possess the child. So really this is like, it's a haunted house story, but it's also a possession story as well. It's like, you got both things going on at once. But I will agree, like, the child possession thing didn't hold a lot of weight, because the ghost in the house could do a lot of we see it do a lot of the damage itself. So what was the point? The rake thing?
Mario Bava had a product placement deal with stupid child overall companies.
Oshkosh.
Gosh, is that what it was? Is this an Oshkosh Bagosh vehicle?
Yeah.
Might be.
It's a really abstract commercial, but I think we've gotten to it.
If that were to be true, I would like this movie more. Yeah, I would like this movie more. I'll be 100% honest.
I liked the laughing piano scene.
I liked a lot of the scenes. A lot of the effects in this thing.
I liked a lot of the scenes too.
Yeah.
It's just like bits and pieces of it. If you don't look at it as a whole, and you just look at like individual pieces of this, there's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
as a whole, I don't know if it really works.
No,
but
it's much better in the abstract. I didn't really care for it as a movie, but just scene to scene, it was all right.
Right. I'll completely agree with that. I think looking at it as any kind of decent narrative, it's just not there. Like, the dialogue is pretty bad. All of it's pretty bad, but you have these kind of segments that really work, like the armoire thing. That scene was awesome. One of my favorite shots in the whole movie was the scene where she's in bed and her hair starts, like, they must be flipping the bed, because like her hair starts moving all over the place. I thought that was one of the best shots in the whole movie. I was like, wow, that actually looks really awesome.
Yeah, that actually perked my ears up a little bit, because I did love the way that looked. I also like the way that they handled the husband drugging her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, for a long period of time, that just, like, because it's shown once, and she has the freaky hallucinations and everything, but you get no sense or idea of, okay, well, why was she even, like, what was the point of her being drugged? Like, this, at that point in time, it makes no sense whatsoever. So when it is kind of like revealed towards the end, it was like, okay, you actually handled that pretty well, considering most of the other stuff you did not handle well.
Right.
But it seemed like that one, he had a firm grasp on, execution-wise. Everything else, he kind of fumbled.
There was one other scene that I absolutely loved, and it was the only scene in the whole movie that actually made me jump. And I don't know if either of you can guess what it is, or if this had the same impact, but it was the scene when the kid was running down the hall and as soon as he goes out of frame, he turns into the dad and jumps on the mom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
That didn't make me jump, but I really liked it.
I was not prepared for that. That was the only scene that I was like, whoa, okay.
I knew something was going
awesome.
to happen. I didn't know exactly what it was, but
It was
that worked really well.
Yeah, that scene was awesome.
And I think kind of thinking about it now, with the whole kind of enjoying the fact that it doesn't make sense. I think for me with horrors, and why that works for me is I find so many horror movies to be kind of predictable, and with this, when they don't make sense, you're kind of not working with a blueprint.
Yeah, you're just kind of going in blind. You have no idea what's going to be coming.
I kind of get surprised that way, where a lot of the stuff, they follow the same beat over and over and over again. They're so formulaic most of the time.
Yeah,
I kind of like when they're messes. I like messes with my horror films.
I do to a certain extent. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something like that, but other times I feel like some of these messes don't work. Like I'm trying.
I think
to
messy.
Yeah.
I think the thing that really redeemed it though was the ending, because honestly I didn't really see that coming, and the way that it escalates, was just like Jesus Christ.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Like that was kind of tough to watch, especially her.
The box cutter scene.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that was. It was interesting. It's definitely like a supernatural Bava film, and he doesn't. I mean, normally he sticks with kind of the giallo style slasher movies, but he definitely injected some of that into this as well.
Because I also didn't really see that twist coming.
No, I didn't either.
Because then it made me rethink her whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing. I mean, she's still somewhat of a victim, but I, maybe reassess some things. I wasn't expecting that. In the middle of this goddamn mess, I'm not expecting to reassess things.
That's the best time to reassess things.
You're like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna go back and watch this again from a new perspective.
I mean, I was definitely not expecting that.
I should point out that this movie is available on YouTube, so you can give it a watch on YouTube if you're interested.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. If it comes down to watching this or watching Black Sunday,
3 times.
Watch this. Yeah. But even if you're watching Black Sunday for perhaps the first time,
I
would watch Shock instead.
I think I'd go for Black Sunday over this one.
Interesting.
Really?
I would
see. It's moodier. I like it.
Okay. No, and see, I would agree, because like to me, Black Sunday is like it's the better film, but I don't know, something about watching Shock. I think you're gonna get more out of it.
I think it's more entertaining for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna enjoy yourself more. But I also want to know. So what's beyond the door?
The first one?
Yeah. What's
apparently
the first one?
It's some movie that has tangentially similar themes that they decided to market Shock as a sequel as, just for brand recognition.
Really?
It's like the relationship, but it's like a slightly better version of the relationship between Troll and Troll 2.
Okay.
Troll Squared.
Because I was wondering, because the twist and everything, and I was thinking, I wonder if they covered this Beyond the Door.
I wondered that as well, because especially when they start mentioning like her time in the institution and stuff. I think I was wondering if that had something to do with the original one.
Based on my understanding, the films have nothing to do with each other. That was just a marketing thing.
Yeah. So that bumped up Shock in my opinion.
Cool.
Because I like that it's a sequel, but it's a sequel to nothing, essentially.
Yeah, you gotta love these kind of like standalone sequels.
Fucking love them. Just love the whole idea of it.
Like Surf 2, where there wasn't even a Surf 1.
The Surf 1 was the friends that we made along the way.
That's right. That's exactly right. Kevin, what are you going to give Shock?
Oh, man. Can you rate this?
Try. Why don't you try?
Okay.
Why don't you try?
I'll give it like a 6.5, 7.
I'm going to go with a... I'm going I'm gonna go with a 6.5 on this one. Ken, what about you?
Damn right.
I'm going down to a 5.5, and now I feel mean.
No,
Perfectly
that's all
fine.
right. I can
Yeah.
understand.
I understand a 5.5. I would understand if you said it was like a 3. It's not a very good movie, but
No,
it's just.
I mean, you could give this sucker like a 2 and still heart it.
Yeah.
Still heart it.
Sure.
It's not a good movie, but
I
man,
gave
it's a fun
Geostorm
time.
a 2, and I still heart it.
There you go. So looking at Bava's first film compared with his last film, what would you say your take is on this? One of the things that I've learned about doing this project and looking at some other directors who we were considering, first and last movies are usually pretty bad. Like first and last movies are usually not great. I would say that as far as Bava goes, these are not at the top of the list for me. I mean, I think Danger Diabolic still probably is my favorite of his.
I haven't seen much Bava, I don't think, besides this, so I can't really speak definitively to that, just the track along the way, but yeah.
I think Black Sunday is a good debut. I think that's a really solid debut. And I think Beyond the Door 2 or Shock seemed a little beneath him. It seemed a little lazy for him, just comparing it to something like Bay of Blood or Barren Blood or Danger Diabolic, that they all felt like much higher quality movies to me. Mm-hmm. But still not too bad considering. I don't know if this movie was just like a payday for him or what, but
you get tired, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
You want to make something.
Yeah, he was getting up there in age, so maybe he was just getting done with it.
Will de Oliveira was making films into his, early 100s, and they weren't great, but you just like the fact that he was making them.
Sure, yeah. Let's move on and talk about our next director, Clive Barker. So, Clive Barker, he only has a few movies under his belt, director-wise.
He made 3.
3.
Yeah.
That seemed right. Did someone forget to add stuff to IMDb? Is that what's going on? Or is he legit only directed 3 movies?
I think he's only directed 3.
Yeah. That's it.
I think the stories that I've heard about, the infighting that he had with the studio on the second 2 may have been part of the reason that he just doesn't want to make anymore.
He has a number of writing credits under his belt also, and he's produced some stuff over the years, but not a huge presence.
Primarily an author. I think he writes a lot of short stories.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I think a lot of, maybe all of his movies were adapted from his short stories. So we're talking about Hellraiser first. That was his debut. This came out in 1987. I have a synopsis here. An unfaithful wife encounters the zombie of her dead lover. The demonic Cenobites are pursuing him after he escaped their sadomasochistic underworld. This one is probably the most popular and recognizable of the movies that we'll be talking about today. Pretty iconic horror franchise.
The way you said Cenobites makes it sound like something they should be serving at Cinnabon.
Cenobites? Bites?
Cenobites. I mean, that sounds delicious.
I think there are... Cinnabon does make... Oh, they're called Bon Bites, I think.
Oh.
But they should have called them Cenobites. Yeah, they should have called them Cenobites.
So it would have been a great reference.
Exactly.
Missed opportunity right there.
So I'd say that, like a lot of these kind of horror mascots, the Hellraiser series has incurred some ups and downs over the years. Recently, I think Hellraiser, they've been churning them out every couple of years or so. I think just to retain the rights. I'm pretty sure it's one of those situations where they are required to, I think it's the Weinstein Company that owns the rights. I think they're required to put out a movie every so often in order to keep the rights. So they've just been churning out kind of crap. I'm actually making my way through the whole series right now. It's my second attempt to do so.
So it's kind of like the thing that goes on with a lot of superhero franchises when they just keep rebooting it.
Right, yeah. It's sort of like Sony or Fox.
Like the Spider-Man thing.
Yep, yeah. Sort of the same thing. They're just churning them out straight to video. But the first one was a pretty big deal. I guess I'll start this one off. I was always kind of a fan of the Hellraiser series. I never liked any of the movies more than Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween. But I thought Pinhead was kind of an interesting character. Going back and rewatching Hellraiser, this is probably like the fourth or fifth time I've seen this movie. I think it holds up pretty well for the most part. Dialogue, not great, but I still really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
Kevin, have you seen Hellraiser before?
I have not seen Hellraiser before.
Oh,
this was actually...
Wow.
For me, this was the most... I was excited. I was really excited to finally see Hellraiser for the first time. Man, did it not disappoint. This movie is fucking great.
Yeah, it's definitely... There's a lot of things in this movie where I wonder if this movie started a trend. You know, because you have the kind of goth look with the like long, I don't know what that is. Like it's like a dress sort of situation happening, but it's kind of like a goth staple. And I'm wondering if this can be credited to that. I'm just not sure.
I don't know.
Maybe. I think a lot of trends, just aren't started by one thing, but you sort of kind of lean into it, and then it's a whole bunch of things that get the ball rolling.
I'm sure The Crow had a lot to do with it, but maybe The Crow was influenced by this. I don't know. Ken, what do you think of Hellraiser?
I thought there was a lot of, like I said, cool stuff going on in it. I wasn't really crazy about the movie as a whole, but just all the concepts and all the scenes and all the ideas that it had going on with it were really interesting. And it just looks good because of how bad it looks, just because of how uncomfortable it looks. Like this makes sense. It's a really wet movie. There's just so many sort of fluids. There's just blood, of course, and then there's like water and sweat, and it's just kind of a slippery, wet movie.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because as I was watching, I don't know, maybe the third or fourth Hellraiser movie, I said to my wife, there's something about this series where everybody is wet all the time. Because it goes into the sequels, too, where everything just kind of looks slimy in these movies.
Oh, yeah. It's a slimy guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which, again, I mean, kind of like Shock. My favorite thing about this movie is that it's not interested in making any sense whatsoever or explaining anything. It's just, there's a box. This guy does the thing with the box. He gets ripped apart. All right, we move on. He shows up later. He's got no skin. I don't know how do you escape? No one knows. He just got out of there. Now he's in this room. He's got no skin. He's like, and he just immediately knows, like he's some goddamn scientist. He's like, if you bring people up into this room and you kill them, it'll bring me back. Like it'll give me skin, organs, all that shit.
Well,
and she's just like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's kill people.
Don't have anything else to do this week.
I'm in. And it's like,
it was the blood from
the first time that she does it.
Sorry, it was the blood from Frank that brought him back.
Yeah, but you're telling me that if you were with the Cenobites, right,
experiencing all that pleasure and pain,
you get fucking ripped apart, right? And then what was it, like 13 years later, or some shit? A guy comes in, bleeds on the floor. All of a sudden, you just materialize in a room.
It seems like
no skin or anything. You would just be able to deduce, like, oh shit, okay. If people die in this room, I can suck the life force from them and I can come back to life. Damn it, I need to find someone to lure people here. Let's do this. Like, it's just so quick.
I mean, if it's been that long, you're willing to try anything.
True, yeah.
I mean, true, but I mean, to get her to sign up so damn quickly. It was wonderful. And I love the fact that she brings the first guy there. And you would think that, okay, if you're not 100% into this idea, that you could just, chaperone that guy into the room. Mm-hmm. Just shut the door behind you. Let things happen. Just keep yourself out of it. But no, she's decided to bring a hammer, to do it herself. She even made like a place to keep the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think we need 5 billion Hellraiser sequels. We need a Hellraiser prequel, but just about her and what happened in her past. She's just so ready to do this. Because there's something going on.
Yeah, and that's what I love so much about this is they, in a way, they try to provide some explanation, but they make it worse. Where they do like a flashback where he just shows up one day when it's raining, and he's like, "Can I come inside?"
Yeah,
She's like,
I love that scene.
I don't know. And then next thing you know,
it's raining. This movie is so wet.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, they're in the bedroom, and she's just like, "I shouldn't." He's like, but let's. So they do, and then like that's the explanation. Like, is she just that desperate for good dick that she's just gonna say, "You know what? I haven't been fucked right in years. I'm gonna kill these guys to get this guy's skin as quick as possible, and then so we can get back to it."
So horrible what people have to go through before Tinder.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous.
Yes, the motivations of some of these characters and some of the decisions they make are baffling in this. And
none of it makes sense. Just none of it. But I love it for that reason.
I want that like little puzzle box thing. I want like a replica of that puzzle box just to carry around in my backpack and leave it places and see if anyone knows what it is and gets a little bit unsettled.
I never understood the puzzle box and how it works.
I don't either, but I just thought it looked really cool.
It does. It looks awesome. I've watched many of these. I'm on part 6 right now. And
how many parts are there?
There's like 7, I think, or 8. 7 or 8.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
I think it was in 2005, maybe. One year they put out 2 in 1 year.
Damn.
For some reason.
Crank them out.
Yeah, so
might as well.
I mean, regarding the sequels, the second one is decent. That one actually the wife is she's like the villain in it. She comes back. So she's the bad guy.
The only thing I know about the sequel is that I think maybe it was Roger Ebert's review, he complained that the movie broke the rule that characters can't just have dialogue where they shout each other's names back and forth because after a certain point it just turned into a farce.
Yeah, I could see. I don't remember that happening, but yeah, it makes sense. The sequel's not horrible. The first sequel's not horrible. They go downhill pretty quickly after part 3. Part 4 and beyond is pretty bad. Actually, Scott Derrickson directed, I think, part 5, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's when it really deviates from the sort of framing of the original ones.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that kind of got me is I was expecting more Cenobites going on here, but I do kind of love that they're not really too involved. Pinhead and his buddies, but I also love that they don't really make a lot of sense either. Like, why do they care that he got away? Like, he's in what do they give a shit?
Because that makes him look bad. Because they run the place.
Though? No one knows who the Cenobites are.
They run the underworld.
Like, do they have management that they have to like?
I think they do.
To?
I think they do. I think like Pinhead is sort of a manager, but then he has a boss too.
Is there like a sequel where it's just like an easel with a Cenobite org chart on it?
No, not really.
It's them having a technical meeting.
A lot of the
I want that.
Procedural changes.
If they asked me to direct one, that would just be what I would do.
A lot of policy changes. They're actually they should do a movie that's just 2.5 hours of them writing a new handbook.
Yeah, that would be the one that I would want. And like the most intense thing that happens in it is there's a very brief argument over like a procedure according to Robert's Rules of Order. I want that.
A whole bunch of them get killed in the second one.
I want that now too. What, the Cenobites?
Yeah, all of them except for Pinhead get killed in the second one.
Now we can't make that.
Yeah. And then I think it's the end of the second one. Almost all of them get killed, and then in the third one you have all new ones, which it gets ridiculous because by the third one you're dealing with like the 90s, so one of them has like a camcorder for a head, and one of them shoots CDs out of his mouth. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh God.
I think
Why not?
I think that
And one of them is the parliamentarian, and his head is just a copy of Robert's Rules of Order, and that sets up our sequel.
there we go.
There you go.
Done.
We already have this.
Mhm.
We already have this fucker halfway written.
Yeah.
What did you guys find any of it to be scary or disturbing? Like, what was the horror level for you guys on Hellraiser 1?
Well, that scene where the guy's like walking down the stairs and he's going to cut his hand on the nail. I was
Yeah.
not a fan of that
Yeah.
because you just keep getting so much dread, and that's effective filmmaking. But I kind of switched out of a tab until I realized it was over.
Yeah, I thought one of the things, like the effects, I thought held up for the most part. However, the skin did not hold up. Any close-ups of skin being ripped or pierced looked very bad. And
it helps that the skin was like paper towels.
yeah, that was unfortunate, because I think I remember when I saw this as a kid, when I was younger, it really disturbed me, especially the end, the Jesus wept thing, and they rips him apart.
Jesus Christ. That was
really
fucking nuts. Then he licks his lips.
Yeah.
The way he licks his lips. He's fucking wetting his whistle just to say that shit. That's disgusting. He exploded for a second time. That's the second time he did all that work to get skin. He got exploded twice. That's fucking terrible. Oh, I don't understand too how she goes to see her dad, and you can clearly tell.
Oh yeah.
It is someone that does not have skin that is wearing new skin.
Yeah.
And she's like, Dad. And
'Cause-
it's like, how do you not? No,
Yeah.
that's not your dad.
He's
you
like-
can
It
tell
looks
him.
like he's melting.
Yeah, he's like covered in slime and blood.
All of the skin is the different colors, and they're all wrong colors.
Yeah.
There's different
and you can
shades of
tell
wrong.
where you can tell where it ends, where he's trying to get it to like form together. He's like grouping
Do
it.
you think your father was recently embalmed?
Yes. How well do you know your father?
The funny thing is, she doesn't even.
It's just such a wet world that people don't notice.
She's so oblivious to it that it takes that one thing that he says to trigger her realizing that it's not him. It's like you don't notice all the obvious things happening around you, and yet he says one creepy thing, and you're like, all right, clearly this is my
This
uncle.
is that.
It's just, just such a,
Then like
At
you
least
know,
it
you
was
said
something.
where it starts something. Is that where the whole Aphex Twin thing comes from?
I think it is.
Is it?
It's got to be. I think it has to be, because it sounds just like it.
It does. I think that like added a little bit of a creepiness to it.
I think the first one
is
the first one's by far the creepiest and scariest of the bunch. They get ridiculous.
Scary
after
wise,
that.
I didn't think it was really that scary, but it was. I found it really disturbing.
Yeah.
'Cause number one, I thought the effects were great. Like the first time he pops up out of the goddamn floor,
Oh
and
yeah.
he looks like a spider. Shit.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What the hell?
That was really unsettling.
And this, oh man, just everything about it. The design work on everything, just I found really disturbing, and it just disgusting. Like you said, with it being, it's just so wet. There's so many fluids.
Thatcher's
just
Britain was
gross.
notoriously soaked. That's why they called her the milk snatcher. She would just take all the milk and all the other beverages from the poor children. She would just dump it all over the countryside.
I
don't know what I'm saying at this point.
It's all right. This one, did this one have that kind of that like spinning wooden pillar thing? Was that in this one towards the end, where it has like this?
That was in the beginning, hadn't it?
Yeah,
it's got little bits of flesh.
Yeah, like that.
on there.
Yeah.
Just that thing, that prop alone is, to me, for some reason, is deeply disturbing. Just because it has such random elements of like viscera and horrible things on it. There's like no organization to it. It's just got like, oh, here's a nail, here's some barbed wire, here's an ear.
Yeah,
and the spinning, and it's
because they have a mechanism built into it that it spins.
Right.
Yeah.
That again, a lot of thought put into it.
That actually,
which doesn't.
They must have really effective meetings.
Yeah, it's a vision board.
The other thing I just remembered, completely forgot about, which really freaked me out. It was disgusting. Is when Skinless guy comes out when they're trying to have sex, and he's just like, I have a rat, and I have a knife. I'm just standing at the end of the bed. Hey, look at the fuck! I'm cutting the rat in half. Trying to have sex. Like, fuck you. Like, what the? Like, how at that point do you not think to yourself, like, maybe I shouldn't be getting skin for this guy?
This is a toxic relationship, and I need to get out.
Yeah. Why do we have so many rats? Like, I don't need to draw attention to the skinless man in the room, but I think we should get the rats taken care of at some point.
At the very least.
He has a wealth of rats. He's nailing them to the wall. He's holding them in his hands. He's pulling them out of pockets. He's cutting them in half. That's too many rats.
Yeah. One rat in your residence is too many, but obviously that many. There is a problem far beyond your own means.
Yes, that's an infestation.
They have taken it over. They are building their civilization from there. They will be mastering air and space travel if you do not do something quick.
Exactly.
You need to stay on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should also mention the design. I thought the design of the Cenobites is really gruesome and effective. And the design of Pinhead, I mean, that became sort of an iconic horror image. Like that character, he's right up there with Leatherface and Freddy Krueger and Jason.
Yeah.
And what a great design. It's just a dude, creepy dude. Doug Bradley played him.
Bunch of pins in his head.
Bunch of pins in his head.
Yeah.
Really bad acupuncturist. Really should get that changed. But yeah, that's like the one iconic symbol from this franchise. And it's just disturbing on its own. Like, I'd see the poster when I was scrolling through Netflix before I knew I had to watch it, and I would just see that and I'd think, no, thank you.
Yeah. It's just he's just a creepy looking dude.
Really effective.
And in some of the sequels, he actually pulls the pins out of his head, and there's like these gross, like living pieces of brain attached to him. It's.
I didn't need to know that.
Yeah, it's very. The pins are actually very long. They're like really, really long.
I didn't need to know that either.
Now you know.
I know it now.
Any final thoughts on Hellraiser?
Is it possible for you to include the soundbite of Pinhead stressing the second maybe?
I want to hear him confess himself. Then maybe.
That's the other thing I'd like to bring up. Yes, I can try to do that if I remember.
Yes.
And he's always wheeling and dealing.
The art of the deal.
He's always wheeling and dealing throughout the whole Hellraiser series. This guy's cutting deals with people.
He's just making deals. Yeah, that was again another part that just didn't make sense to me. You're a Cenobite. Like, just kill her. Find the skinless guy. Kill him. Just kill everybody. Like, you can just kill everyone.
Yeah, but I think that wouldn't be fun for him. I think that...
But he enjoys making deals.
It's all about...
He's actually the ghostwriter of the art of the deal.
It's all about pleasure and excess for him. Like, apparently, I read a little bit about the short story that this is based on, and evidently the world that they came from was originally sort of this, like, Caligula-style world where everything was so decadent and filled with carnal desire, and eventually it kept escalating to the point where everyone that was there sort of couldn't tell the difference between pleasure and pain. Like the two hemispheres sort of merged into one, and it became what it is in the movie.
It's like when you reach terminal velocity and you can't go any faster, so you just kind of hit the ground after a while. And you're going to just keep hitting it at that speed. Yeah.
It's interesting that you give me that information because, man, did Hellraiser fucking fail in, getting that point across. Get any of that information from the movie I just watched.
Yeah, I liked all of the images and things. I garnered nothing after it was over.
Sure. Yeah.
No, it made absolutely no sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
They try to explain it more in the sequels, but they don't really. It doesn't really happen.
That's the problem that a lot of horror makes. These horror films, they always try to explain shit, and it just comes off as stupid as all hell.
Like you don't need to explain it.
This poor job of it, and it's just like stop explaining it. Like, you have a guy with pins in his face. You have another guy who wears clothes even though he has no skin. Doesn't make any sense. Your movie makes no sense. Just into it.
Yeah. Why pick a white shirt anyway?
Well, it makes no sense. And he's tucking the shit in too. Why the fuck you tucking in shirts? You got no skin.
I just like that they really pushed the fact that he is wet and bloody and like filled with plasma, because everything he touched would be stained red. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
All right, Hellraiser.
I just want to talk about Hellraiser for the rest of my life. Fuck all the other movies that we want to talk about.
You might want to
talk about Hellraiser.
You might want to watch the second one.
I'm sorry.
You might enjoy the second one. I'd stop after that, but
I might have to dip my toes in. Okay.
I had fun with some of the sequels, but
yeah, I did not hate this movie, but after I saw it, I just felt no desire to ever watch it again or watch any of the sequels. I'm perfectly content with having seen the first Hellraiser once.
Yeah, it's a pretty unpleasant series, that's for sure. All right, let's give it a score. Hellraiser. Ken, what are you going to give Hellraiser?
I'm giving it a 6.
Kevin, Hellraiser, what are you going to give this?
It's up to me?
Yeah.
I'm at 9. It's fucking great.
I'm, man, I don't know what I want to give Hellraiser. Probably like an 8. I'd be like an 8.5, 9, like somewhere. It is a horror classic, so I feel like
it's canon.
Yeah. It's like a
not
must
even horror,
see.
Just canon films in general. It's better than anything Hitchcock did.
It's huge on it, but I think if you're interested in horror, then it's something you should definitely check out.
I'm sorry, I want to go back to what you just said, Kevin. It's better than anything Hitchcock ever did.
We need to revisit that. You said that, and it just flew over my head, and then it just kind of came back in.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to think
of anything else right now.
It's a stealth statement. That's how it was intended. But it's one of those things that, in going in the vein of Hellraiser, is I'm not going to try and explain it. I'm just going to let it be what it is.
Just going to let it hang out there. You're going to let that statement hang out there. Not going to back it up or justify. We're just going to let it. We're going to put this here and let it go.
Not at all. I'm not going to explain anything about it.
15 years from now,
Hellraiser.
I'm going to have this random thing of you saying in my head that something was better than anything Hitchcock ever made, and I won't remember what movie you were talking about or why we were having that conversation. But like in 2032, it's just going to fly into my head, and I will not know why you said that.
Oh my!
Man of mystery.
So Hellraiser is on Netflix, so you can check it out there, and I would highly recommend it if you've never seen that movie, because it's a trip. Let's talk about this. This is Clive Barker's last movie. It came out in 1995. It's called Lord of Illusions, which is a shame, because he also the second movie he did was Nightbreed, and I think Nightbreed is amazing. I don't know, Kevin, I know you didn't.
Is Nightbreed? I didn't get to see it, but is that the one with the moon face guy?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Ken, have you seen Nightbreed?
I have not.
Oh my god, it is amazing. It is so good. Unfortunately, that was not his last movie. Lord of Illusions was. I have a synopsis here. During a routine case in L.A., New York private investigator Harry Darmoire. What's his last name?
Darmoire.
Darmoire.
Or Damore.
Damore.
Because
Harry Damore.
Damore.
But it always in the movie it sounded like it always sounded like they were saying Lamore.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, because then I thought of like Louis L'Amour, and that's how I remember the name. But
anyway, he stumbles over members of a fantastic cult who are waiting for the resurrection of their leader, Nyx. 13 years ago, Nyx was gunned down by his best trainee, Swan. In the meantime, Swan is advanced to a popular illusionist like David Copperfield and is married I like how they have to put that in there. Like David Copperfield, and is married to.
But you gotta remember, this is.
Sorry, what?
This is during a time when David Copperfield was fucking huge.
Yeah.
This was during a time, right, where David Copperfield was fucking huge.
Magic was definitely in. So he's married to...
David Copperfield was the
All
thing.
Right, we know. Let me get through this synopsis, and then we'll talk about David Copperfield.
I saw David Copperfield, like, live once. It's pretty good. He's pretty good. He still got it.
I liked him when I was younger. So he's married. Oh my God, Kevin.
I mean, that was like when I was younger and I was like kind of into magic. So we went to some like magic stuff, and it was pretty good. I'm sorry. Get back to that.
So he's married to the charming Dorothea. She hires the investigator to protect Swan against the evil cult members. A short time later, Swan is killed by one of his own tricks, and the occurrences are turning over. And it crackles between Dorothea and the investigator. What?
It's crackling.
All right, whatever any of that was all about. So Lord of Illusions, what a 90s horror movie. I'm realizing I watched a lot of 90s horror movies this Halloween, and man, I love 90s horror movies. I was all about the 80s horror movies for years and years, and I still think that they're the best. I still think that's the best decade for horror, but 90s, man, some of the tropes and some of the things in these 90s horror movies are just so amazing. And this movie has a lot of those things. Kevin, what'd you think of Lord of Illusions?
Lord of Illusions is, this is another one where it's like, it's kind of garbage, but at the same time, I love it. It's just so ridiculous. And just the whole idea of illusionists and making a horror movie out of illusionists and a cult. And again, there's just like the effects work in Clive Barker movies are pretty fantastic, except for some of the computer stuff that they do here.
Yeah, I loved
in its own way.
I loved it. It was so bad.
It kind of becomes this like bizarre like artifact where it's just I almost forgot that stuff used to look so bad.
Yeah, well, this was 2 years after Jurassic Park. I kept having to remind myself that.
I mean, the way that like he folded up,
like looked like a screensaver on Windows 98.
And for whatever reason, it's just like, oh my God, that is wonderful. Thank you for existing in this movie. That is just delightful.
Well,
and again, like most of it, it doesn't make any sense, and I kind of like it for that.
Yeah, same here. I liked this movie quite a bit. I will sort of mirror your thoughts. It's not necessarily a good movie. In fact, it's pretty goddamn ridiculous. But it was. I had a lot of fun with it, and there was some really great stuff going on here.
I will say that like I did not care for a good chunk of the movie, but when it worked, it really worked for me. Like everything after the prologue, but like the first 30 minutes after that, especially like the magic show itself, I really, really liked. I just thought that was really well done because I've kind of always had an affinity for magic, and this confirms my suspicion about like ebbs and flows in magic popularity. I'm going to out myself as the youngest person here, but when I was like 8 or 9, which was 10 years ago, I went through that like sort of phase when I was into magic and sort of like card tricks and stuff, and I was like into magic as a hobby. But I noticed that there seemed to be this sort of breadth of like magic books and material and pop culture from like the mid to late 90s, from like this sort of period from which this movie is coming from. And it seemed like there was just this spike of interest in it, and I could never quite figure it out. And just the existence of this movie and this idea of just this super famous celebrity magician kind of confirmed that to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, magic was huge. They used to do, I can't remember what.
It was so huge. They were like TV events.
Yeah. What we did it. We reviewed, I think it was a Ryan Watches a Movie where we were talking about magic and how it was so prominent in the 90s during this time. There were primetime events. I mean, David Copperfield was huge, but you had a lot of other kind of celebrity magicians working during that time.
But you had that, it exists in such a, the 90s where, the way that TV was set up, where it was this like huge event, and like everyone talked about it.
Yeah.
You'd be talking about it up until the show was going to be on TV. And you knew that the majority of people, like Adam, like in Dallastown, you knew the majority of people were sitting in front of their TV watching the same exact thing you were watching.
Yeah, and then
the next day you would all be talking about it together,
trying to figure out how they did the tricks and stuff. And then there was that show on Fox called like Magic Secrets Revealed or something. Remember that? Where it was like,
I watched a lot of reruns of that when I was like 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah, they
because that was on.
Had some mysterious guy that would reveal some of these big tricks and how they did them and stuff. And that was like a big thing for a little bit too.
I like how it was filmed in a abandoned warehouse set for no reason at all,
just to set the mood.
I also love that it like never had any personality whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just very bare bones. Like, I'm gonna tell you how these tricks are done. It's like, are you gonna do any flair at all? No, I'm just gonna tell you how the tricks
It's just gonna be straight up spoilers all day.
Yep.
In the most boring way possible.
And I remember
just magic spoilers.
I remember like the guy kept his identity a secret, and I'm wondering if that
maybe he just had a skin condition. He just was sensitive.
I'm wondering if it actually did have an impact on like the magic community, like if people really were pissed about that. I'm just wondering if there was any kind of, or if they were just trying to heighten the drama of it all.
I don't know. Maybe it was like I think that was whenever it was. I don't know. I used to watch like TV shows through the end credits to see when they were made. I think that was like 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or something. And I don't know. Maybe it was like how Airplane was for disaster movies. It was kind of already on the way out, so you just kind of threw something on there to just sort of blow it into the wind.
Could be.
So it was, you know, with Airplane, it was just we take all of these tropes from disaster movies and just kind of make fun of them. And maybe it was like magic's kind of winding down, is super popular, so we're just gonna like make a show that's just all giving it away.
It could be, because I feel like after that was pretty much it. Like there wasn't a whole.
You're not interested anymore.
I mean, you would have the David Blaine special here and there.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that a lot of that stuff now is, you know, David Blaine's like, my new special is I'm going to sit in a glass box for a week, and you're like, that's not really magic, is it? Like,
well,
I don't care if you sit in a box. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, make a plane disappear.
They have some interesting. There's like some interesting documentaries that have come out over the last couple of years about magic that I think at least kept the profession in people's minds. They kept the conversation going about it. Like the Ricky Jay documentary was really good, and there were some others that came out.
And don't forget the future cinematic classics, the Now You See Me films.
Ugh, God,
I've seen both of them in theaters. Neither of them are good, but I still see them.
Now, with the fact that you saw those two, what would you recommend? Either those two films or Lord of Illusions?
I'd recommend Lord of Illusions up to a point. Like, there's a point where it's just kind of everything kind of falls apart. And then I'm like, just watch the first Now You See Me. It's all like blue fancy lighting and stuff, and they go all over the world by accident. And I mean, that's gonna look incredibly dated, just like this looks incredibly dated, because it's all just early 2010s cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the thing for me with like magic and an illusionist. It just seems like there's such a wealth of potential here. There's so much that you can do with it.
Yeah, I like that a lot of this took place at the Magic Castle, which is kind of, I think, a really interesting place. And I thought it was cool that a lot of it took place in the Magic Castle.
And I think I mentioned this to you earlier, but I like the casual thing that it does of just augmenting the popularity of the thing, but just to a point, just so you know it's taking place in an exaggerated world where it's like a huge deal, where there's like a red carpet of people going in. It's like in Showgirls, when every time something happens in like the Vegas showgirl world, there's a big press gaggle about it.
Right. Like it's just conflates
it's just
everything.
Blowing something up just that much more.
Scott Bakula stars in this. I don't know if we mentioned that or not, but
we didn't.
This was, I don't know if this was
was
this during Quantum Leap or after Quantum Leap? I'm not sure when Quantum Leap ended, but I think it was after Quantum Leap.
It's so many 90s things.
Oh yeah,
Magic. Scott Bakula.
That's why I love this movie so much, is because it's just so gloriously 90s. Like Famke Janssen's in it, and there's an amazing
That one hologram,
oh yeah
like the hologram projector.
Oh my god.
oh yeah that was awesome.
We're trying to use those to be serious now. That's just fun.
Love it.
Seems like something the Magic
so
Castle would
much.
have, right?
Yeah.
I loved the sex scene with Scott Bakula and Famke Jensen. It was so ridiculous and overly long, and
that's the one thing that I noticed through all these movies that we watched, the 6 of them. Not one had, like, every single sex scene was terrible.
saxophones all over the place.
Like maybe the worst
Soft lighting.
I've ever seen.
Okay, I've got so many comments on that subject when we get to boxing Helena, so I'll just reserve it.
Oh
till
yeah,
then.
that's a big one. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
I've got so much to say.
I was not into this movie. The prologue that you mentioned, Ken, that didn't do it for me. I was like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And then when they kind of brought it into more of like a real world setting, I was more into it at that point. But there's just a lot of really silly, dumb shit that happens in this movie.
No, yeah. No, there totally is.
In a good way.
Absolutely.
I think in a good
Absolutely
way.
in a good way.
But there's also he's able to get this these glimpses of just really disturbing shit, like when the cult gets back together.
Oh yeah, the glass
And they kind of just like
thing.
cut from each like family, like killing everyone around them and like going back to the dead. Like that for me was unexpected, came out of nowhere. It's just like super serious in this, sea of silliness that's going on. And then you just have the one woman kills like her
Yeah,
kids.
there's some child death.
There's just like dead bodies everywhere and blood everywhere, and you're just like, oh shit, wait, are we serious now?
Yeah, and then you had the hair cutting scene where they're all violently cutting off their hair. I thought that was pretty disturbing, and the glass scene when they dropped to their knees in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Nix comes back and he gets like the asshole on his head, it reminded me of The Beyond, where the butthole comes out of the head. But I thought all the practical effects were pretty solid in this.
Oh yeah, no, again, they look great.
I'd say the movie peaks with like the magic show with the swords and everything. Like that's where the movie peaks. That is my favorite part. And then it just kind of moves around, and then I think at the end it just sort of wanders downhill.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah,
it does really stumble down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Towards the end there, it's just.
I don't know. I don't know what the whole last 20 minutes were.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole like the ending towards it, you're just like, okay, let's stop. Like this was fun and silly for a moment, but let's get back to some real shit.
Was this based off another like short story by Clive Barker?
Yes, it was.
This based off?
It was,
because it really does feel like screenwriting on deadline without an outline. You just need to end it somehow.
I mean, I think a lot of these are adapted from short stories, so I think that there had to be a lot of development in the story to make them bigger and fit into a feature runtime. So I think that's probably where some of that sloppiness comes into play.
Probably.
But yeah,
I would also like to point out that for
watched.
me, Barry Del Sherman, his role as Butterfield, I could have used more of him because I thought it was really interesting to see this guy like take this role really seriously. And to me, he was like one of maybe the best villains I've seen in a film. And it didn't utilize him enough. Like he creeped me the fuck out. Like I found him deeply unsettling.
Yeah.
We all watched the 2-hour director's cut of this. Apparently, the theatrical cut was 15 minutes shorter. It was kind of a studio cut. And the complaint that people had is that like the ending didn't make the whole back half didn't make any sense. So if the ending in the director's cut doesn't make any sense, what does the theatrical cut look like?
I want to watch the theatrical cut.
I know. I'm kind of curious now.
Evidently,
because it might get better if you think about
it. Evidently, that was a problem that Barker must have had with studios a lot, because I know Nightbreed also was a similar situation where there were like heavy cuts in Nightbreed, and they pretty recently released the director's cut, which has a lot. It's very different.
That's the kind of thing that happens a lot. The vast majority of directors don't have final cut privilege, so maybe it doesn't usually become this egregious, or maybe it does. Just nobody talks about it.
Could be. All right. Final thoughts on Lord of Illusions? Anything, Kevin?
I have none.
Okay.
It's fun to try and guess where the swords went into him during that one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do that too? Like as they're throwing him?
I was like, I don't know. When it's spinning around, I was like, yeah.
Cat face. I thought one get the throat. Did one get the throat? I don't think one got the throat, did it?
No, I don't think so.
They should have got the throat.
Got like everything but the throat.
I was hoping it was going to get his dick.
I thought it would for a second.
Get him in the dick.
It just landed above it. I thought, that's kind of it.
All right, let's give this thing a score. Ken, what are you going to give Lord of Illusions?
I'm giving it a 6.
Kevin?
I just rated this too, and I can't remember what I gave it. But I would say like a 7, 7.5.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 6 also. Pretty solid. Again, I will reiterate, check out Nightbreed if you are looking for some solid Clive Barker. It's still a horror movie, but it's not as disturbingly violent as something like Hellraiser. It's a lot more fun, and it feels came out in 1990, but it has a very 90s feel to it, where there's like lots of crazy creature effects and aesthetic prosthetics going on. I feel like that's one thing that happened a lot in the 90s was everybody used prosthetics. And this is just loaded with really cool stuff. So check out Nightbreed also. I'm wondering I'm curious to see.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm curious to see if Barker ever makes another movie, if he ever directs another movie. I mean, I guess it'd be no, but
yeah, I think if it's been 22 years, it's probably made a decision.
Yeah, I think so. I saw him at a convention one time, signing, I think it was for a comic book maybe that he did. But yeah, I'm okay with his stuff.
Yeah, you're making the point about how it's kind of enjoyable to watch movies from a particular decade after the fact, because you can pick out certain elements and trends. So I think maybe now it's sort of fun to watch movies coming out now and think about if they're going to have a future as like a fun, dated, of its era movie.
Yeah.
I think a lot of movies, especially like horror movies, do get sort of second lives that way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I like going through and binging franchises. So I'll go through like the Friday the 13th series or the Halloween series. And I love it because it's like you're traveling through time. Like each one is, because, you know, a lot of those movies have many sequels that are pretty close together, like 2-3 years apart. Yeah. And you could just you're just traveling through time and you're seeing like these new trends and things. And it's I always find that to be really interesting going through franchises.
I can't wait to watch like Unfriended in 20 years.
Well, it's going to be, a lot of it.
It's going to be a mess.
We're going to be seeing like, there's going to be all this found footage stuff and we're going to be like, what were they thinking with this found footage crap? I'll be interested.
We'll watch Unfriended after the Singularity when it's just, a reality.
There you go. Yeah. That's true.
I'm looking forward to that.
So let's move on, continue our 90s talk with Boxing Helena. This is directed by Jennifer Lynch. Came out in 1993. I have a synopsis here. A surgeon becomes obsessed with the seductive woman he once was in an affair with. Refusing to accept that she has moved on, he amputates her limbs and holds her captive in his mansion.
You can't even make this movie sound serious.
Yeah, I mean,
that is maybe the best synopsis because the second half of that sentence seems completely detached from the first half of that sentence.
So are her limbs.
Yep. I also feel like maybe
that is true.
Is it a little bit of a spoiler to just say that? Was it because it felt like?
Are there any spoilers in this movie? Can you spoil this?
But it felt like when they first revealed that he cut off her legs, it was like a big reveal they framed it that way because Julian Sands, he was standing in front of her.
Yeah.
So so he obstructed the view, and then he moved out of the way, and you're like, bum bum bum.
Yeah.
What?
And she's on her little
Really?
throne thing.
Really, the only thing about this movie you can spoil is maybe the last 90 seconds.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I just
Which
Yeah.
I did not think that it was going to go that way.
Neither did I. But I kind of admired it for just so unironically doing that.
Yeah.
I think
I think at that exact point, I was just like, you fucker.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Like, you save this until the very, very, very end, when you can just sort of count down the end credits on your fingers.
Yeah. I was like,
To just throw that out at me.
yeah, I think that's actually horrible. I hate it when movies pull the rug out from under you like that, and just it's so
pointless.
Yeah, it's so pointless. It's so lazy. It renders the movie completely useless. I feel like I wasted my time. After.
Yeah, I think it's something that was known, because it's not like, oh, you find this out in the last 20 minutes or the last 15 minutes. No, it's the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. And it feels like, for me, it feels like an actual betrayal. Like, I signed up for this. Like, okay, Jennifer Lynch, you have a vision for boxing Helena. Let's do this. I'm going to invest an hour and 47 minutes. Tell me, show me this story. And then to get to the last 2 minutes like that, and it's just like, are you fucking, like, I gave you trust.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that to me? That's so rude.
Yeah.
It's just really rude. I'm sorry.
I wonder if the specific aspect of our frustration has now given away what kind of twist it is.
It's a twist. I'll tell you
probably,
what the twist is. It's all a dream. It's fantasy.
Okay.
It's bullshit. Don't watch the goddamn
It's all a dream.
Yeah, we don't have to hold back on spoilers for this movie.
It's 1993. This movie came out when we were 10. Like, we can.
But also,
this movie came out when I wasn't alive yet.
Also, I feel like it's the type of spoiler that you have to warn people about before going into it, because I feel like it's
enjoy this, but none of it happened.
Yeah, it's like, I think that a lot of people will avoid the movie because of that.
And when we find out in the last 90 seconds that it was all a dream, I was waiting for another plot twist in the last 30 seconds to just build on that, because I thought, it can't just end here. It can't just be, oh, it was just a dream. It has to be that thing that said it was just a dream is just a dream. And really, I don't know, Julian Sands is the one that got his limbs cut off. Carolyn Henn's the one that's been holding him hostage this whole time.
Yeah. No, I'm exactly right there with you, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, this can't be how it ends. This can't be it.
Oh, that's
who greenlit this?
That's how it ends. That's the twist. That being said, before that awful ending, there was a lot to be into with this movie. Yeah. Bill Paxton alone makes this movie.
His hair.
his hair, his awesome mesh shirt, and his leather pants.
All of the words he says, just every line he has.
Every line Bill Paxton has in this, it is amazing. It's worth seeing just for Bill Paxton.
Honestly.
Julian Sands never quite understood his character in this movie.
I didn't want to understand his character. I'm worried that would say something bad about me as a person.
I love this character. It's so ridiculous. It's so
terrible.
ridiculous. I love his just general ineptitude when it comes to his obsession. Like, he is just out. He is just flaunting his obsession with her.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
In front of everybody.
He does not care.
He's sweating through shirts and changing shirts, and even his, like, the woman that he's supposed to be getting married to, she's like, so what's going on? He's just like, oh no, I'm completely in love with her, and I don't fucking care about you at all. Like
if you brought this character, into 2017, like with the internet and fan culture, where it's almost kind of in to just be obsessed with something, his head would just explode.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah.
No. He would just search a tag for something he likes on Tumblr, and he would just die on the spot.
Yeah. He goes for a jog to her house and watches her.
He climbs a tree,
and he ends up being out until like 4:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
and he just saw her at a bar. Which is the thing that I love.
I can't believe Julian Sands invented fan culture.
his like this complete 180 that he does, because he goes to the bar, meets Art Garfunkel, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's here, I can't be here, let's get out. And you're like, okay, that's weird. And then immediately gets home and just obsession, just fully dives into it, stalking her. And it's just like, damn, you showed such great restraint at the beginning. In a matter of like 10 minutes,
you're literally just looking in her window.
Yeah.
I can't believe Julian Sands founded TMZ.
Yeah. I love that after the stalking scene when he was running home, and it just was very, at least it looked to me like he was just very clearly running in place, and they were just shooting it with him running in place. This was also the era of the windbreaker. Oh, he had some awesome Nike sportswear going on in this movie. Sands nailed the sportswear.
I never once got the impression that he was a top surgeon.
No. He seemed like he acts like a child. The way he talks and acts, it's like a child.
Well, they had to have that one scene at the very beginning where he performs surgery just so you know that he is competent.
Right.
Yeah. And they kind of point it out because he's not showing up for work.
Because otherwise we would have no idea.
Yeah. We just think he's like some weird man-child.
Well, that's the interesting thing too, and it's something that I found with both of her films, between this and Jane, where she tries to explain some stuff, or provide some sort of backstory. Like in this case, he is like a man-child. He's a very deeply, deeply pathetic man, and like there's some sort of backstory with his mother, but it makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. It's just random flashbacks of her being mildly disappointed in him and maybe naked once. And you're supposed to deduce from that like, man, that had like a huge effect on him in his life.
It's weird that a movie would have so much trouble kind of bringing things out in exposition like that, considering that every line of dialogue is just so incredibly stilted, because everyone is introducing each other by explaining to the other person how they know them. Especially in that very first scene when he's like a kid at the dinner party and everyone's just explaining to him how important his family is.
I thought all the dialogue was pretty dreadful in this. Again, except for Paxton, especially when he leaves and goes, hasta whatever.
Yeah. He has the worst dialogue of any character, but he sells it the best.
He does. He's fully invested into it. I mean, I agree. All the dialogue is terrible.
I can't believe Bill Paxton invented acting.
He invented so many things in this movie. It's ridiculous. And I also loved Fenn just outwardly hating Julian Sands' character, just hating him.
I wouldn't like someone who cut off my limbs.
I just love it. Well, even before that, just the whole idea, like when she shows up at his party and just the outward disdain that she shows for him. I love it.
I love the party scene.
Because he is.
I thought the party scene was so amazing. She shows up. She doesn't want to be there, but she does. She goes anyway, and then just takes her clothes off, hops in the fountain, and then Art Garfunkel photobombs the slow-mo fountain scene. Just poking his weird hair in there. And
can he be in every movie?
I would love him to be in every movie.
Just sort of poking around in the background of shots.
Just wandering. Oh, it's just Art. Yeah. It's just Art Garfunkel wandering around the backyard again.
I want him to have the most prolific IMDb page because he's in every movie that gets made.
What I would do if I was a producer and/or director, what I would do is have a running thing of Art Garfunkel showing up in every single film, only to do one thing. Within a scene where two individuals are talking to each other, Art Garfunkel comes up and he's like, "Excuse me, do you know what time it is?" That's it.
And then that's it.
He just interrupts,
and then he's gone.
Yes, that would be my version of the Hitchcock cameo, except it wouldn't be me as the filmmaker. It would just be Art Garfunkel.
Oh my god, that'd be so amazing.
And then people would ask why, and then I would just say, because Boxing Helena is the greatest film ever made, and he is the best part of it besides Bill Paxton.
I want it to happen so bad.
Yeah, I
want it
loved
to
I
happen.
loved that fountain scene. It was amazing, and then just everything that Julian Sands did was just so ridiculous. The premature ejaculation
It's
scene.
hilarious. Everything.
When
Well, this is what I love. Is sorry, go. I kind of forgot about that.
So the premature ejaculation scene was pretty classic in this movie. When he does it, and then he takes
Just like this whole movie encompassed in one scene.
He takes off his shirt, and they spend the time to show us him like wiping himself down with his shirt afterwards, and you're just like, oh,
I didn't need that. I didn't need any of this.
No.
See, that's what I love when it does. You have that ending, and you find out that it's all this dream fantasy thing, and that was my immediate thought: is like, damn, even in this guy's fantasy,
even in his fantasy,
he comes early, he's embarrassed, and he gets the shit kicked out of him by Bill Paxton.
What if this was just a nightmare he had, but in his real life he's just like the coolest, most popular guy in the city, and just in his dreams he's nightmares and he just becomes this horrible, awkward sadist.
That's like his anxiety. He just
He's great. He's amazing in real life.
So it's like a manifestation.
And that's how. The reason that he's never had an awkward moment is that they're just all expunged out of his mind and his dreams.
I like that theory.
Maybe
I like to think of it that way. I wrote down one of my favorite lines that Julian Sands said in this movie, and I just want to quote it here. "A woman is something soft, something warm when you feel her."
This movie is so upsetting.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure that was Julian Sands. Now that I think about
Who else
Yeah,
would it
that's
have
Helena.
been?
yeah, now that I think about it, I actually think it was
Helena.
Sherilyn Fenn that said that. But either way, it's an amazing quote.
Isn't that when she's like coaching him through, which is such a bizarre thing too, when he finally, I guess he has sex with and he's so excited. He's like, "I did it for you."
Yeah,
Is that the scene where it scored to the Enigma song?
I think that
so.
might be. Yeah, I think that line was like a prelude to the Enigma song.
Listen, I had just discovered Enigma not too long ago. Like I had just somehow never heard of their existence, and then I listened to like the most famous album, like that one album from which that song is from, and I just sort of committed like, that's pretty cool. I'll never hear that again in any other context. And so the scene starts and I'm thinking, hey, this sounds a lot like Enigma. And then I realize it is, and then it automatically becomes the most incredible scene I've ever seen in any movie. Just because Jennifer Lynch actually got the rights to that bit of music just for it.
Yeah,
Enigma.
there's a lot of things
That was such a good choice.
went into that. I also, going through the IMDb quotes, here's another one from Julian Sands.
It should just
If you
be
were
this
a
whole
real-
movie.
Yeah.
If you were a real woman, you'd lie to me about our sex. It's such a bizarre. Okay.
All the dialogue in this movie is so great yet so terrible that after it ended, I immediately forgot all of it. But now that you're saying it, I can automatically remember when it was said.
Oh, I noticed. Yeah, I noticed the Helena quote that I said is on IMDb. So must have made an impact with others as well. As soon as I heard it, I was immediately
So whatever.
hostile. Whatever. Oh my god, amazing. Yeah. So this movie's actually.
This movie's pretty
It's
bad.
actually really horrible. It's
horrible.
It is no.
This is a terrible movie. But you should see it.
It's garbage. It's garbage. But no, it's the must see.
I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. Let's give this a score. I will say, you know what? Maybe I scored this before. I'll say like 3, I guess. I don't know. I'd say between 3 and 5. It's kind of a so bad it's good movie for me.
It's close. Yeah.
Oh, I scored it a 1.5
It's
on Letterboxd previously, so I'll say 3.
1.5 stars would be like a.
Yeah, I'll say 3 maybe.
Okay.
Kevin?
I would agree. It's
Yeah.
about 4.5.
All right. Ken, what are you going to give Boxing Elena?
I'd say a 4, but at the same time, it's one of those movies that is all the numbers and none of the numbers at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, especially that
I mean,
ending, man. Like that
Mhm.
ending really, to me, just breaks the movie.
I also just like how
negates it.
all of the lighting in the movie, all the cinematography is either like super expensive early 90s pop video or just really cheap early 90s made for TV movie. Like that scene where he's sitting in the tree looking in her window, and through her window it's like super expensive pop video, and then you cut back to him and it's just like a cardboard tree.
Yeah. Lots of
it just bridges that gap.
Yeah,
so
lots of like wind machines and soft lighting going on, and it definitely, there are a lot of scenes that have that kind of music video vibe to them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I think.
You think about the plots in music videos, and none of them really make sense. So this is like a music video, but it's the whole story without the music.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain this movie. All right, let's move on and talk about Chained. This came out in 2012. This is Jennifer Lynch's last feature film, but she's done a lot of work since then. She does a lot of TV.
She's directed like an episode of every TV show.
She does tons and tons of TV stuff nowadays. Anything from Wayward Pines to Hawaii Five-0, Once Upon a Time, Quantico, lots of stuff.
Her IMDb is like 50% of the titles were from the last 3 years, and it's all like television stuff. So she's keeping busy.
Yeah, she did a couple episodes of The Walking Dead, so she's got some good stuff in there as far as her TV directing career goes. But Chained was the last movie she did. Maybe we can see why. This was the last movie she directed. We'll get into it. I have a synopsis here. Bob, a cab-driving serial killer who stalks his prey on the city streets alongside his reluctant protege Tim, who must make a life-or-death choice between following in Bob's footsteps or breaking free from his captor.
I really thought that when I read that plot description, that was going to be like the main conflict of the movie, but really that's only the last third. That's like the last third.
It's like the one decision he has to make towards the end.
And it comes right at the end. Okay, there's some other stuff that happens at the end. We'll get to it.
I've seen this movie before too, but I forgot most of what happened in it, so I had to rewatch it. I did not like it the first time. I don't like it the second time. It's just it's so stupid, and there's just nothing in it of substance for me in this. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio plays
I thought it was all right.
He plays a decent, serial killer guy. He's always good at playing kind of the creepy, schlubby.
Yeah, I've never met a serial killer, so I can't say how
true, but it's how you would imagine them being.
Yeah,
you'd imagine them being these kind of slovenly schlubs.
He's your pop culture serial killer.
Side note: in real life, Vincent D'Onofrio in real life is super nice, great guy in real life.
I've heard that.
Wait, have
you met?
I have
interacted with.
I have. He's.
Can we talk about that instead of Chain? Because Chain sucked. So let's just
not much to talk about with this movie.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about like Eamon Farron's wonderful otherworldliness, I have nothing to say about this movie.
Right, and that's the thing. Like,
he is an interesting.
He is an interesting kid.
Yeah.
Guy, I guess he's probably an adult now.
I think he's a good actor. I think he's good in this.
Oh yeah, I think he's.
You may know him from the new Twin Peaks, the new season of Twin Peaks.
I haven't seen him yet. He hasn't showed up. I haven't gotten that deep, I guess.
You're pretty deep, aren't you? What?
So he's collaborated with both of the filmmaking Lynches.
Yes, he has.
4 or 5. I think I'm at episode 5.
Oh, I thought you were like almost done with it. You haven't watched.
Nah, shit got stalled.
That's about where I am. I got
garbage.
Super stuck way back somewhere, and I've never gotten back to it.
I
spent most of my day.
I just forgot.
2012.
Chained.
So, like, not only is this movie dumb and kind of pointless, but like, there's nothing visually appealing of any interest whatsoever. You can just listen to this movie, and it's the exact same experience
and
as watching the damn thing.
This is something that bugged me all through the movie and later. It's not terribly relevant because if it did go this way, we wouldn't have a movie. But how did this guy basically abduct all of his victims in a fairly public way and then kill them all and then do this over and over again, like every day for God knows how many years, and he never got caught?
Yeah, it's a little far-fetched.
How bad is the local law? I mean, even after a while, if this many people were disappearing, you'd like bring the FBI.
Oh yeah, that's like I mean, he did it for decades.
And this looks and feels like a Criminal Minds episode, but just everything that happens before it starts.
It feels very.
And then you'd bring like the BAU from Criminal Minds in, and they'd solve it in 45 minutes.
It feels very much like a procedural to me, like just
But it's all the bits in between.
Yeah, not a lot of investigative work happening. We're seeing everything from the killer's perspective here, and.
I went through Jennifer Lynch's IMDb. I think she directed some Criminal Minds too.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think so. Really, I think those episodes were probably the answer to this question.
Yeah.
And the other thing not only is it him abducting people, and he makes it sound like he does this every day. Does he not?
Yeah.
Because when he's going through the rules at the beginning with the kid, he's like...
Yeah, he describes the daily routine, and then he tacks this on without a transition. So it's like, is this also a part of the routine?
Yeah. And then to bury... Like, you got to run out of room at some point burying all these bodies.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it must be hundreds.
Is this just a giant tunnel? Is he, dug a giant tunnel under his house, and it's just bodies everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, Plus, the smell alone of that situation.
What you would think, too, is after a while, you have, after you get 12, 13 people missing, you would be like, okay, what was the last thing all these people were doing? They were in a taxi. Okay, let's take a look at taxi drivers. Okay, we got this one guy. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Who seems to have been the same cab driver that all these people went, maybe we should go visit him.
I feel like they would very easily be able to put the pieces together on this.
And then be like, I'm sorry, all my bodies are... Let's say we had a giant tunnel. And it's like, all the bodies are in this giant tunnel. And then you'd be like, okay, let's poke around the house. Look, here's a box full of their driver's licenses.
Yep. Yeah. I think just by the simple fact that if you look at taxi drivers, if you're like, okay, we're just going to take a look at taxi drivers in the area, and you have a guy that lives out in the middle of nowhere with no one around, and he's got corrugated metal around his house and stuff, you'd be like, you know what, this is probably the guy.
Yeah, you would know right away. You take one look at that house and you're like, yeah, he's the one.
Yeah, there's something there.
He's the guy. Because even if they hid the kid, you probably wouldn't be able to have enough time to hide the bed, and maybe you'd have enough time to hide the chains.
Considering how convoluted the plot twist is, what if the other plot twist is that he's also the mayor of the town and the police chief, and he's the everything, so everything goes through him. So he said, I don't think we need an investigation.
Yeah, I think that it definitely brings up a good point. This one had absolutely...
He's also the director of the FBI.
This one had an absolutely ridiculous ending too.
So we should have added those things.
That you see the ending of this movie and you're just like, what what is this?
I didn't fully understand the plot twist because it came and went so quickly.
Yeah, it happens very quickly, and you're just like, what? And you're still trying to figure out what they were even talking about.
I honestly was I rejected it. I knew what was happening. I knew what the plot twist was, but there was a part of me it's like, no, you're not doing this. I'm not allowing it. This is not happening right now. You're not doing this. I had to put up with enough shit up until this point in time with Chained. I sat through a lot with this movie. I'm not sitting through this too. You can't just... I mean, this is almost worse than the fantasy bullshit. You can't just be like, oh yeah, the brothers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's going on here? Did she not know how to end movies?
Evidently not. I don't know.
Apparently she said, and of course, you can say whatever you'd like, but she said that the plot twist was made more sense in the script, but they just did not have the resources to flesh it out, which makes me think that perhaps the plot twist was just that he was every single person in every single job, and then it was just lots of cuts, and it's like you cut to him and he's the mayor, and you cut to him and he's the police chief, and then you cut to him and he's the FBI agent, and you cut to him and he's the president. And so that's how this was all connected, because he was also every other person, and so it makes sense. But they couldn't afford to build the Oval Office set where we reveal he's the president and also his entire cabinet.
It would have been interesting too if like 10 seconds before the credits too, he wakes up from a car crash.
Yeah,
it was all fantasy.
Oh,
my
gotcha.
He wakes up and he's Julian Sands.
Julian Sands without any legs.
I would like that. That would be really interesting to bring across multiple films.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Like I've
the things that these movies could have been.
They could have been great,
and they're not. It's just disappointing.
Well, the difference between Boxing Helena and Chained is that Boxing Helena has a lot of there's at least some entertainment value there. Like there's some fun stuff in there, and there's some ridiculous stuff. But Chained is just it's nothing. There's no really redeemable qualities.
Well, even with
for me at least.
I mean, for me, I don't know about you guys, but for Boxing Helena, I mean, to me, there's at least some display of filmmaking prowess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where some scenes are edited in a nice way, and the way that it's shot, and like Helena leaving, the whole sequence of her leaving the party, I thought was fantastic. Of how like it goes completely pitch black except for them two walking away. But Chained, like there's nothing of value to me in watching Chained.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely. I've seen some of Jennifer Lynch's other films. I did see Surveillance and I saw Hiss. Hiss was quite bad. Very, very bad. I don't know if either of you have seen that. It's about
I do not know what it is.
Basically it's about a woman who turns into a snake. It's about a snake woman.
Oh.
Who kills people.
Guess that explains the title.
Yeah. There's actually a pretty interesting documentary that came out about the making of that movie. That's in a lot of ways more interesting than the movie itself.
I think most movies are not as interesting as a documentary about the making of said movie, but so that's not a fair comparison for me.
Yeah.
But
the Surveillance was the other one with Bill Pullman. This was I don't really remember too much about Surveillance. I remember thinking it was okay, but
I know the only thing I remember is that it did creep me out.
I remember there was some like really disturbing violence in it, but
yeah, she does just full on darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm also seeing here, what is this? Is this movie A Fall from Grace? Did that come out? That says 2015. Did that actually come out after? Did I mess this up? And did that come out after Chained?
What's the wrong one?
Well, I don't see it listed on.
Do we have to record a second podcast now?
Yeah, we'll have to record like an addendum.
It says on IMDb production announced.
Okay, so it's not,
which would
I guess
indicate that it's just an idea.
This is
I guess it's not out
this
yet.
This is an interesting cast.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio, David Lynch, Forrest Whitaker.
I wonder how she got David Lynch.
Cedric the Entertainer. And
pull so many strings to
But really, we're looking at French Stewart on this list. That's the key right there. French Stewart.
Yeah, I'm just kind of stopped.
And Nelly. No.
And Nelly, that's what I mean. Like
Paz Vega.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. So yeah, it should be noted, Jennifer Lynch, still great career. So this Chain movies might not be her last movie. Whereas Mario Bava is dead, and it seems like Clive Barker is done with directing. She could have.
Yeah, this one's definitely there's definitely more to be had with her career.
No, I hope so, because Chained is pretty bad, pretty bad. I'm gonna give Chained a 2 out of 10. I'm gonna even say 1.5 on this one.
Drop it down to 1.
Kevin,
just keep going.
0.5, 0, -1,
-2.
Ken, what are you gonna give Chained?
I gave it a 5 because there was never anything I actively disliked in it. I just sort of sat there and the movie happened and then it was over, and I was like, this did not actively make me feel like the world was the worse for it existing. I'm not crazy about the plot twist just because I didn't understand it, but Vincent D'Onofrio and him and Farron were good, so I'll give it a 5.
Kevin, what are you gonna give it?
I'm gonna give it a 1. And I actually didn't like Vincent D'Onofrio. I mean, I guess like half and half.
I kind of
like his voice.
Well,
I didn't understand.
Maybe I liked it because he talked kind of really softly.
That was fun.
And then he would go through the book, and then that kind of turned into a sort of flipping pages, and when he was talking softly, and it kind of turned into an unintentional ASMR video. So I liked that.
Still, this is a good opportunity here. What the hell is the AM? Was it AMSR?
ASMR.
ASMR. What's that?
That's it stands for something. I'll pull it up.
I guess I do have Google too. I could have just Googled this at some point.
Autonomous sensory meridian response. Basically, it's like, you have all those YouTube videos of people out there whispering or making some kind of sounds, and for some people, it kind of does for me. It sort of is this sort of pleasurable, tingly feeling in your head. It helps you relax, and
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's lots of...
I mean, if you don't get it, then you're just going to find the most sort of annoying, petty thing on the planet just because it's people whispering or like flipping through pages in a book or writing on a notebook or something.
I wanted to seize that opportunity. I know I could have Googled it at some point in time, but I thought, you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity as it comes. I ask somebody because I see it all the time, and I'm like, I don't understand what this is.
So as like a really high concept one of those creepy Halloween ASMR videos, Chained is like a 10, but as a movie, it's a 5.
Well, there you have it. That's Chained. That's Jennifer Lynch.
Chained.
That's gonna do it for this Halloween wrap up. All right, let's take a look at some of the movies coming out in theaters this week. We got A Bad Mom's Christmas comes out on November 1st. We got The Light of the Moon coming out on November 1st. We got Most Beautiful Island coming out November 2nd.
I'm reviewing that, aren't I?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that one looks pretty decent.
What's it? What's
I
it
should
called
watch
again?
that sometime.
Yeah. Might want to get around to it. The big one that comes out this week is Thor Ragnarok. You guys excited for that one?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for it to be over, and I don't have to hear about it anymore.
You're not excited for the movie, though?
I'm excited to see
I'm sure everyone says this, but if superhero movies be the current major filmmaking trend, and they've already scheduled them through like 2022, I have to imagine it's gonna because people kind of get people are getting tired of them now. It's just gonna be like, if they're already scheduling them through 2022 in production, there's gonna be a point where it just falls out of its favor, and those last 6 are gonna flop so hard.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think
like the 7th.
But it's so funny.
We're gonna be 2022, and we'll be at Aquaman 4, and it's just gonna bomb.
Well, I remember back when Marvel had their first string of successes, and they had 3 or 4 that were big, and they were good, and they were well received by critics and audiences. And I remember saying, when's this bubble gonna burst? They're on this hot streak right now, but when is this all gonna fall apart? But it seems to still be working. And
well, it's because they bought into it so quickly that there's just nothing else coming out. I don't think it's because people are just as enthusiastic about them. I think
there's a couple reasons that it seems to be working. I think that the structure in which that they're releasing the movies is it works better. I think that
it's also based on properties people already know.
I think that the directors that they're getting they're getting more interesting directors. They're not just getting these jobbers to come in and go through the motions. They're actually getting creative people like Taika Waititi for Thor Ragnarok.
I think there's also a degree to which, if you're coming on and directing one of these movies, you are kind of there with the intention that you can direct it, but but ultimately a lot of your decisions have to be put through.
Absolutely, yeah.
Marvel
of
first.
Course.
I think it's why the couple of people have been fired from making Star Wars movies. It's you're not the auteur here. The producer and the company.
And I'm sure that it's the same reason why Edgar Wright was removed from Ant-Man. That there was a little too much stuff creative.
Then they gave him time to make Baby Driver, so that worked.
Yeah, there you go. All right. We have My Friend Dahmer, which comes out. I would say check that one out.
I would choose a different friend.
Yeah. Based on a true story, it's actually really interesting. Lady Bird comes out. That's the Greta Gerwig one. Pretty excited for that one. Heard nothing but good things. LBJ. It's the one with Woody Harrelson playing LBJ. A little biopic action. Doesn't look great.
Oh, yeah.
Last Flag Flying. Not.
I hear that's good.
I mean, I heard it's good. It's the new Richard Linklater, but I don't know. It doesn't immediately appeal to me. But
it's not something that I'm excited about. But I just hear it's good.
I'm sure Kevin will be skipping that one. Blade of the.
I'm excited about like 3 movies coming out from now to the end of the year. It's like, you know,
there's a few that I'm.
But it's not too many. It's like Call Me by Your Name and 2 other things.
Yeah, I'm excited for a few different things. One of them being Blade of the Immortal, which is the new Takeshi Miike one that comes out. Gilbert, that's the documentary about Gilbert Gottfried. Looks kind of funny, I guess. I don't know. Princess Sid comes out. Kevin, I know you're excited about that one.
Oh, wait, that's next weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
God damn it.
A Gray State comes out. That's a documentary. Looks, I'm still like so burnt out on docs. Like I can't. There haven't been any documentaries that have come out recently that I've been interested in.
There should be a moratorium on documentaries for like at least the next 10 years.
Oh man, especially when we.
What if something really interesting happens in the next 10 years and we caught it all firsthand?
Yeah, I mean, especially when we cover a documentary film festival. Holy shit, that burns me out so bad.
It sounds terrible.
They make docs about everything.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Everything.
A lot of documentaries would have been better books.
Yeah, definitely. But
I think Mike D'Angelo, the film critic Mike D'Angelo, has the basic rule that's his rule with the documentaries is that it's a good documentary if it does something that just a book or like a long form magazine article couldn't. But a lot of them just
pretty much. It should utilize the art form in some way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like
instead of just giving me information,
like Brimstone and Glory, which
that I can easily find.
Everybody should see Brimstone and Glory. By the way, we didn't do a watch list this week, but maybe I'll talk about it more next week. Brimstone and Glory is awesome. All right, VOD. This week we got Blood Dynasty and The Follower. Those both come out on Halloween. And then let's see what we have coming out on Friday. What is Friday? The 3rd?
Friday. Yeah, this coming Friday's the 3rd.
Different Flowers comes out on the 3rd. And then Blu-ray this week, we have JD's Revenge from 1976. Arrow's putting that out. We got Hellraiser coming out. Looks like a steelbook edition of Hellraiser coming out. That's got a really cool steelbook cover. Bunch of TV stuff. Was that? There was a Child's Play collection that came out. I guess that was this last week. All of the Child's Play movies collected into one box set. It's pretty cool.
How many are there?
7.
There's so many.
Yeah. Unlike Hellraiser and some of these other franchises, all of the Chucky movies are actually pretty decent if you give them a look. Let's see what else. Zoology from 2016. Vestron is putting out Slaughter High from 1986. I hope to get that. Big fan of that one. Dark Tower coming out. Heard that was pretty bad.
That's a pretty quick turnaround. That was just in theaters, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it might still be in theaters.
That flopped pretty bad.
Yeah, they must have wanted to. Usually, when that happens, when you have that really quick turnaround, it's because it didn't meet anywhere close to expectations. So they're trying to recoup some of those losses. That's pretty much it. Kevin, anything on the Criterion front next week?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared.
God damn it, Kevin. While Kevin's looking that up, Rockadoodle from 1991 is coming out on Blu-ray.
Hell yeah.
Rockadoodle.
Hey, that's coming out on Criterion too.
Uh-oh.
Rockadoodle on Criterion. No.
That movie was such a piece of shit.
What? Rockadoodle?
I hated that movie.
Look, I have to go through all that work, and there's no Criterion's coming out. Goddamn time.
Listen, Criterion put like 3 Michael Bay movies out, so I would almost believe you could make a case for anything.
Yeah. Early days of Criterion were a little weird, though.
Well, it's still weird.
Some of the choices.
Yeah,
it's eccentric. It's kind of like an eccentric early period. There's nothing really wrong with that.
I just call me when they add spontaneous combustion to Criterion.
I think they should add the stuff.
Goodness.
I think they should add the stuff and cue the winged serpent.
I think this should be the first film made exclusively for Criterion, but it's just the 2.5 hour like Hellraiser procedure meeting.
I'd be into that. Criterion original.
That's perfect for them. Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's like the right mixture of kind of avant-garde, but also sort of popular culture. It would work.
I think it would work. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet, @FilmPulseKevin, and @KBake_99. If you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse. Consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw and Ken Bakley, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.